Hey besties, welcome or welcome back. We're going to use Dollar Tree yarn today. I'm so excited. I've got 3 different colors of the yarn, a bamboo hoop, and some rope that I got from Walmart. I'm going to use my hot glue and I am going to wrap it around all the way around this loop. It takes a little while, but it is so cute when it's done. Then I'm going to make a bunch of tassels. So I'm going to take a wide part of my hand. I'm going to wrap around. I think I did 30 times on these. You can do it as for as thick as you want, as many as you want. And I pull it off and I cut off the end, and then I take a little piece of the same yarn and I'm just going to lay it right on top, and I'm going to tie the very top portion off. So it almost looks like it's just got a little head and then a body on it. I'm going to tie that in a full knot, and then I'm just going to trim the loops open. And then I'll give the whole tassel like a little haircut to make sure it's nice and even. For this particular project, I'm going to do all 3 colors yarn, and I'm going to do 7 tassels each. And I'm going to use that same part of my hand so they come out roughly the same size. There they all are. And it doesn't take that long to do them. I can just be watching something. And now I'm going to cut some of that rope, and I'm just going to cut various pieces that I want to put through the loops. And I'm going to put a knot at the top, and I'm going to use that to tie it to that bamboo ring. We're going to make kind of like a wall hanging. It's very boho looking, and we're just going to attach each of these. There's going to be layers. First is the purple, then the green, and then the white. So I'll use different lengths rope to make sure that they hang right. And I always kind of dry fit it first by just putting it on and pulling them down to where I want. So I'm going to hot glue this rope, and it's okay if there's extra pieces hanging off. We're going to take care of that at the very end. So the main thing now is to get them attached and hanging exactly at the length that you want. Now what I want it to do is kind of curve around, so the middle tassel will always be longer than the ones going up around the side of it, and that'll be the same for all 3 rows. And if that doesn't make sense, you will see that here in just a moment. So there they are, all attached. You see how I've got them kind of curved, each layer. And I'm going to show you the back. See all that rope? Now I'm just going to make sure that all that rope is glued in the back. I'm going to put a bunch of hot glue, and then I'm going to put this coaster that I got from IKEA. I thought it was so pretty. That wood is beautiful. I'm going to put that in the center. And then I've got this piece of like a burlap kind of a ribbon. It's very thick. I cut it to size, and I'm going to cover all those ugly ends on the back. That way you won't see them, and it will just look really, really pretty. So that is what I did. I added a hanger at the top. I just did a lark's head knot where you put the loop on it, pull the 2 pieces through, and then tie a knot at the top. I think this looks so cool. It reminds me a little bit of like, not just Boho, but Southwest a little bit. Like if you were in New Mexico, you might see something like this, or Arizona. You'll have to let me know what you think. Feel free to slow down or pause the video if you need to look at any part, slowly. Would you try this? For this Dollar Tree yarn DIY, I have got 3 colors of yarn. It's purple, gray, and white. That purple almost looks black, but it's purple. And then I've got this letter M. It's like MDF board. I got that at Walmart. It was under $1. So I'm just removing the staples on the back and sanding that area down. Now I'm going to paint 3 different colors on this first, because even though I'm going to use the yarn, in case you see any like spots where you could see through it, I wanted the color there. So I did the top in the plaster, which is like a white. And then I did the middle in a gray color, and then the bottom I did black because I didn't have any dark purple paint. But that'll work just fine for the purpose of this. And I did paint all around the whole thing, both sides and in those little areas between the parts of the letter. Now that it's all painted, of course, waiting for it to dry and using my heat tool because I'm impatient, as you all know if you've been watching me for a while. Now I'm going to take some Mod Podge and I'm going to cover the whole thing, and the reason I'm doing that is so the paint doesn't peel for any reason. You just never know. And then I thought, while I'm doing Mod Podge, maybe I'll just use that to stick the yarn. Well, yes, it probably could work if you had more patience, but since I don't, and I wanted to keep working, I abandoned that idea very quickly. I ended up pulling that off, and then I just decided to use hot glue, and it actually worked much better. So there it is, just the white so far. Next, I'm going to move on to the gray. There's the gray. And then the last one, of course, that I'm going to do is the black. Do you go to Pinterest often for inspiration? I know I do. If you haven't seen me on there yet, I'm posting every day, so definitely check it out. My link is down in the description box below. I've got some purple or lavender florals, and I thought that would be really pretty to put in the bottom left corner. So I'm just going to add a little bit with some greenery and just kind of finish this piece off. Now, my mother's first name starts with M, and so I'm going to give this to her. I couldn't find any other letters that I could think of somebody that I could give this to. So, but I know she likes things like this, and so that'll be really fun. And then once I add the greenery on there, then that is it. This was so, so easy. Especially once I realized that doing the Mod Podge probably wasn't the best way to attach the yarn. I'm really glad I switched to the hot glue. Do you use yarn for something other than like knitting and crocheting? I don't really do those things. I've learned how in the past, but it's not really my hobby. So I do have just a little bit of yarn around, and I was looking for a way to use it. And this seemed to be such a cute way, and I love how it turned out. Let me know what you think. This is a super easy DIY yarn hack from Dollar Tree. I've got a little pot. I think the pot came from Walmart. And then I've got these little pom-pom makers I found at the Dollar Tree. So it does come with instructions. So I'm not going to try to teach you how to use it because I was looking at the instructions the entire time. But once I figured it out, you open up the whole piece and then you just start wrapping around both of the yellow pieces like as many times as you want for as thick of a pom-pom as you want. So you just kind of hold down that first little section and then just start wrapping around. And that's what I did there. Like I said, it did take me a couple tries because I actually did something wrong the first 2 times. I don't know why. I thought the directions were pretty clear. I think it was just me. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I think I know how to do something that I don't, and then I just try. Anyway, it's got these slits in the top that you can use to tie the center, but first you have to cut the pieces of the pom-pom and while you're holding it together. So I went in with some very sharp scissors and I did that. And once I had the whole thing cut, which is both sides, then you can take your yarn and tie a knot around that center piece there. Now I have to tell you, after I used this, I decided that it was easier to make pom-poms with my hands. So you will see that in future DIYs. This just took longer than I wanted it to. Now, if you didn't feel comfortable making with your hand, then this is probably a great tool to buy. It's in the Crafter Square section, by the way. So I'm just going to knot that off. And then what you do is you open up the entire piece, like the whole thing just snaps apart. Well, you open the yellow pieces first, and then you pull the entire thing apart. See, there's your pom-pom. And then I just take it and I trim off any pieces that were sticking out so it looks pretty even all the way around. So it does work. It just wasn't as easy, I thought, as using my hands. So now I'm just going to make the 2 ends at the top where I originally tied it around very stiff so I can poke it through the hole in the bottom of this little flower pot. They have these mini flower pots at Walmart. I'm going to put some hot glue to hold it there because I want this pom-pom to hang down to a certain point, and then I'm going to make a couple of knots on the top. I'm also going to glue the pom-pom to the edge, and I'm going to take a bead and make a nose. And if you haven't figured it out, this is going to be a little gnome. So cute. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to take some flowers and greenery. I'm just going to put it over the top where the knot was because I want to cover that up, and just stick those little pieces up there. I think I do about 3 flowers, and then I add the greenery around it. I just wanted it to be very summery and cute, which I think it has turned out. Now imagine hanging these, doing 3 of them and hanging them at 3 different lengths together. That would be very cute. You definitely wouldn't want them knocking into each other because I think it could break for sure. So now I'm just putting individual leaves. I just want to make sure it's just all the gaps. It's just right there wherever I want them. There it is. I think it's adorable. It was actually very easy to make. Let me know what you think of this one. And here we have another Dollar Tree yarn DIY. I've got another one of those little pots from Amazon, and I've got 3 different colors of yarn, and I'm going to make pom-poms, but I'm going to use my hand to do it. I'm going to wrap around at least 30 times around that wide part of my hand. I'm going to pull it off, and then I'm going to tie right in the center with a piece of the yarn. Now this one I tried just to see how it would work, wrapping it around the center and then gluing it. Not my favorite way. So in the future, I'm definitely going to be tying instead of gluing. I just thought I had that extra piece. I would see how that worked. Now I'm going to cut open all of my loops on both sides. Now, once all the loops are opened up, you can fluff it and then start trimming it so you get rid of any excess pieces that are sticking out longer than the rest and make your pom-pom as big or small as you want. I made a second one. What we're going to do is we're going to turn these little pom-poms into cactus. So I'm going to put rocks in this pot, and then I'm going to start gluing this pom-pom in there. And this is going to be like a kind of a yarn cactus. And then my other little pot, I also put rocks in. And this one we're going to do cactus that blooms a little bit. So I did like a kind of a longer cactus, and then I'm going to wrap some orange around my hand again, but do a few less times around, tie off the center and trim off the excess. And I'm going to add those to the sides of that one, to the side of the first one. And then I'm going to take a kind of a yellow colored yarn. I'm going to make another one that's even smaller. So I only use fingers this time instead of my whole hand, and did the same thing and just set it in there. Now for the next one, I'm going to start layering that one pom-pom. I'm going to do a pom-pom on top of a pom-pom and then another one on top of that, because I want it to, you know how cactus kind of looks like it's got little sections, at least some of them do. So that's what I'm going to do, and just try to make this taller by doing that. And I make each one smaller by using, like, first was the hand, then was more fingers, and then it's less fingers. I hope that makes sense. And then once I get that one glued, instead of using it as a regular pom-pom, I'll kind of flatten the bottom. Now I'm going to take the yellow again, and I'm going to make a small pom-pom, but I'm going to tie it at the top like you would kind of a tassel. But because it's smaller, I'm just going to trim the ends and make it look like a little flower that's blooming. And I'll add one to the very top of the stacked cactus and one to the side, like it's blooming off the side. I don't know if you've ever seen cactus bloom, but they're really kind of cool. I'm not a fan of cactus normally, but I like the blooms. So you see how I'm just hot gluing that to the top, and then I'll put one more on the side. I think they actually turned out cute. This would be kind of a fun thing to do with kids, and I think that they would really enjoy it. But it's cute, and it was a great way to use some of the yarn that I've had in my stash for a while. What do you think about it? Ready for more inspiration? Here's another video I think you'll really like. If you click on it, I will see you there. You are truly a blessing to me. Bye!